Hey everyone, Ashley Mailloux here, taking a look at the Tuesday race of the day. It's race number 5 out at Assiniboia. They have a 7-race program. And race 5 is for the fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming competition. This will be contested at the 6 furlong distances. As you look at this group, maybe the morning lines suggest 1 or 2 horses are maybe the horses to go with, actually really 3 when you look at the morning line. But I think it's a little bit more wide open. A lot of these fillies and mares squared off on May 13th, and the big difference is this should be second time off the freshening for some of them, or it's the case of that combined with the fact that we're going from 5/8 to 6 furlongs. I think 5/8 was a little sharp for a few runners in here, and they might have just honestly needed the race. We'll take a look at the Timeform US pace projection, and in terms of who could be in the mix early, the 2 sum it up should go. I mean, time and time again, she's quite the forward mare. She wants to be close to the action. That was the case last time out. And I understand the pace wasn't all that quick, but you go down the page, she can go quicker than 48 to the half. And I think that will be the case in this event. The one Yellow Birdie from the inside, I think her hand might be forced a little bit as she draws the inside. And I frankly don't think she wants to be as far back as she was last time out. Maybe she just wasn't tight enough for her return to the races, her first starts in September, and you go down the page 2, 3, 4 starts back, she has been close, if not part of the pace. So I think we're going to see something different from Yellow Birdie in this event. Then also you see the 5, Get My Drift, who's intriguing. I know that last race was pretty bad. You see the donut, the dreaded donut buyer, but the only other dirt start came over the slop at Fort Erie, and this horse was much the best, drew off by 11 lengths back on September 9th, and start to think maybe this one has some ability. Maybe she's another one that just needed that start last time out. So we'll see what the pace is going to be like for this event at 6 furlongs. I do think, though, they're going to go a little bit quicker than that we saw in that 5/8 event back on May 13th. We'll jump right into it here with a replay. We're going to take a look at that race, race 4, just a few weeks ago, and it was this level, but you kind of look at how it pans out in here, and I think, we start with Yellow Birdie because she's the first one in this field. I think there's a couple of things. If you watch the entire race, I don't think she got the trip that she prefers. I know she was able to kind of close the gap a little bit, and she was a big price in here. She was 26 to 1, but I think she has more ability than she showed here, and I think she just needed that race. I think she's one that probably benefits from the additional furlong when you look at her races. I thought her effort 2 back was a very good one, again, at a huge price on the board, and I just wonder here with the inside draw and with her sort of tactical early foot, can she be a factor? I think if she's anywhere near 15 to 1, in my opinion, I would certainly throw her into at least a trifecta. The 2 sum it up was the 3rd place finisher in that event. Now, she was part of the pace, and again, I have to think that's going to be the tactics from her. She likes to be forward. You can see prior to this, she had a little bit of a win streak going on, and you can see those races at Fauner Park, and she just took command in both of those events. Open lengths winner. Pace, not all that quick for 6 furlongs. When you see 5 furlongs going 59 and 4 or a minute flat, kind of crawling, but go down the page. She still can go faster than that. We've seen that in some of her earlier starts. She has some back class. This is a Louisiana-bred mare who you can see was in some tougher spots in the past at the fairgrounds and still pretty competitive. And I think looking at her figures, I'm not enamored with the figure last time out, but I think that's just a result of the race, right? They didn't go all that quick for 5/8. And I think at least from a pace perspective, you have to be mindful of Sum It Up because she is going to be involved early. The 3, Catch the Dream. She's a daughter of Debbie Longlegs, who has a pretty good record locally on this surface. You can see she's 7 for 10 in the money, 2 of which have been wins. I wonder with her, does she want to go 6 furlongs? To me, she is a closing sprinter at best, but I wonder if really 2 turns is where she wants to be, because as you see last year in the distaff going a mile, she was favored in that event. I thought she ran really well. It just happens to be she had to face the horse in front of her several times, Mechanic Susie, who just had a really splendid year last year. She was 6 for 7. She posted some good figures, always in the 60 buyer region, and I just wonder, Catch the Dream, is this a kind of a starting point to something bigger and something probably at a longer distance? My gut tells me that would be the case. And I think for her, 6 furlongs, we saw 4 starts back. She can close if she gets the right pace set up, but I still think 7, 7.5. A mile is probably better for her. She's 6 to 1 on the morning line. The 4, Distinctive Deb. This one joined this barn last time out. It was a game second. I like that she was closing in there. She only missed by a head. She could not catch Secret Glinda in the end there. And I think kind of looking at the way the tactics, played out in that race. The winner was on the lead and went to the front and stayed in front. And I think this is a mare that is going to benefit from the additional furlong. You look at some of her races at Turf Paradise. I know she was typically going 5.5, but I think the big thing with those races just comes down to how quick they were going early on. She was getting the pace in front of her, and that's a big difference. Turf Paradise, very quick track. We see very snappy times, just the way the surface plays. And I think being a little bit more realistic with her and a different sort of jurisdiction, 6 furlongs will be better for her. And I think looking at her, she's, in my opinion, probably the horse to try to beat if you can. The 5, Get My Drift. We talked about her kind of earlier in the Timeform US pace projections. I don't know how to kind of look at that last race. It was not good. Her prior race also wasn't good, but she was getting back to the Tapete up at Woodbine. Prior to that, she had 2 back-to-back wins, one of which was at 6.5. $14,000 is the claiming price, non-winners at 2 life. Went to the front, she stayed in front. And then over the sloppy track at Fort Erie in her dirt debut, she was able to do much the same. Just knowing that surface, off track, speed, definitely plays to the front runners. And that was the case. She dominated. It was a short field in terms of what finished in behind her. Not really enamored with any of them. Princess Alaska, she's an okay horse, so I think some of her turf races in the past have been okay, but I don't know how to really read into that race. I don't think dirt, though, should be a problem for her. Just wonder if she needed that race. She would have to be a big price in here to endorse her. You should get good value, knowing that last time out she failed to fire. The number 6 in here, Under Budget. This one out of the Wendy Anderson Bard, which has been off to a good start at the meet, winning at 14%. She was able to win 2 starts back. It was the final time we saw her as a 3-year-old filly. I thought she got a great trip. Big thing, though, she's just a couple of lengths off the pace, and it was going a mile. And similarly to others in here, I just wonder if she wants to go further. And obviously 5 Ace didn't work out for her. She exits that same race back on May 13th, and she just never made an impact. She kind of was towards the back of the pack at the beginning. I think she broke a touch slow, and she just was never able to get going from there. So I expect her to improve second time out, but still, I think this isn't her end game. I don't think she's a 6 furlong horse. I do think she wants to go further than that. Rounding out the field is the number 7, Big Stretch, who is 5-2 on the morning line for a barn that's been off to a very, very good start. They are 7 for 10 in the money so far this meet. It's a 7-year-old mare who's 4 for 37 lifetime, but go down the page and what do you notice? She hasn't been in for tag. She's been against stakes competition. You can see last year they kind of competed her anywhere from 6 furlongs to 1 1/8 miles. Her best finishes were a little bit later. I think I attribute that to her needing a couple of races, but also those 3 in the money finishes, mile and a 1/16, and 1 1/8 miles. But regardless, this is a drop in class for her. I think that is key. She's in for the 12.5 tag. You go back to 2023, she does have some competitive races at 6 furlongs. So maybe we just haven't seen her best because of the caliber she's been facing. Not sure what price I would take on her. I still think she wants to go longer. Her figures are also, in my opinion, way better going longer distances. Look at her last 3 starts last year, 63, 67, and 70 as you go back and kind of go through those starts. So we'll see. I don't know if she'll go off favored in here. I have a feeling the 4, Distinctive Deb, will end up going off as the favorite. But that is the Tuesday race of the day for May 27th. Don't forget, free pass performances on the DRF website. And as we go to top pick time, I sort of hinted at it earlier that the 4, Distinctive Deb, is probably the horse to beat if you're going to try to beat her. I'm not going to try to beat her in here. I think looking at her races, I thought she ran very well in her first local start. I do think she can go further than 5 Ace. I think she prefers probably 6 furlongs, maybe 6.5. And you might not think that looking at the Turf Paradise form, but you have to remember she's getting the setup in those races. And I think here she can be potentially a little bit closer to the action and run them down late, whoever ends up being the pace setter. So go with the 4 on top in here. I think as I look at others, the 5, talked about it, Big Stretch. Makes a lot of sense on the drop in class. I still think she wants to go 2 turns. That's my big kind of push onto her. I think she wants to go longer than this. But again, you think the class relief could probably be enough regardless of the distance. So I use her underneath. My big sleeper is the 1 Yellow Birdie, who I do use in the 3rd spot. I think she's way better than she showed last time out. I think she was able to close a little bit. I think she's going to be closer in this event. I think 6 furlongs works for her. If she's anywhere near 15-1, I actually might play some exactas in here and use her in the 2nd spot because I just think she's very good value. And finally from here, wide open, we'll go with the 3, Catch the Dream, who I talked about probably wants to go longer, but if the pace is hot, I do think this horse could get a minor piece. So in terms of top picks, 4713 for me. Don't forget, it's race number 5 this Tuesday out of Assiniboia. Good luck.